Lord, thank you for this day. Thank you for letting us to continue to come together and have these discussions. I pray that one of these videos, somebody gets something worthwhile out of what we have to say, our ramblings. I thank you for all the many blessings you give us, Lord, and all the freedoms and access that we have in life, and just appreciating all of the many things you give us, Lord, every single day. Thank you for giving your Son on the cross for our sins, and in Jesus' name, amen.
What is up, guys, and welcome back to the Skeptics Podcast. This is episode 40. My name is Dylan Turley. This is John Boy.
Yep.
We start off every podcast by asking the great John Boy. If you are old school, you may know him as the stepson. If you're really old school.
That's way back.
Way back when, dude.
Yeah.
John Boy, how you doing today?
Doing good, I think. I feel like I've done a lot of reflecting recently on like a whole different level. I've got some new habits that I'm trying to pick up, old habits I'm trying to kick, and just lots of work. I've been working on stuff constantly. So,
you imagine being Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson and you be trying to reflect in a gym that has no mirrors at all. Dude's a psycho.
That's okay.
I
told Connor yesterday, me and him, like if you put us together, we're pretty much a country song.
Oh, yeah.
Okay? And because like there's so many things that they say, but one of them was I was thinking about if I didn't have any mirrors in my house, I was like, I could be okay with that.
If you didn't have any mirrors in your house, could you be okay with it?
Yeah, why would I need one?
What if you were going out and you wanted to try to look good for a sexy lady?
Well,
you don't know.
I can look at my clothes. I know how they're
What
looking.
about all this?
Man, hit it with a brush real quick. Good to go.
Dude, that's crazy. Oh, dude, I have to use the mirror every day.
Yeah, I don't know.
Because I gotta do my hair for the sales stuff. I mean,
Yeah,
you gotta try to be looking pristine as possible.
Yeah.
I was reading this thing a couple days ago that was like what sales guys should do. Really interesting forums. And this dude was like, get your hair cut every week because you gotta be looking fresh. And I was like, every week? That's $12, dude. What are you talking about? It's crazy.
Yeah.
Every week, get a haircut. And there's going to be somebody out there that's like, dude, I do that all the time. Mad respect to you. But
Yeah.
this podcast is called Skeptics Podcast because we're skeptic of a lot of things.
A lot.
And the world is an interesting place right now.
That's true.
I mean, we don't even have like what's the word I'm looking for here? Not really violence, but like the back and forth on the parties nowadays.
Oh, yeah.
You don't really hear much from the Democrats. You don't really even hear much from the really right,
Nah.
like Republicans anymore. Now, they're all circled around this one guy that's called Donald Trump. And some people that he has put in order of different things.
Yeah.
And one of them being the Tesla owner, Elon Muskrat.
Yeah.
And he started this thing that was called D.O.G.E. Well, I guess him and Trump and a bunch of other people started this thing called D.O.G.E.
Yeah.
Department of Government Efficiency. Can't believe I actually said that right in one go.
Killed it.
A lot of big words in there. So, but all this is pretty much they can kind of go back and look through tons of files, all kind of programs, anything that we have wasted money or we have put too much money towards. And it seems like that there has been some pretty big findings depending on what you think big is.
Yeah.
Now, we're also, let's all be real here, we're talking about a $1 trillion deficit that we are in.
Yeah.
And one of the claims was going to be that we're going to find ways to not increase that deficit as fast.
Correct.
And if not, even get money back
Yeah.
to put towards the deficit.
Correct.
When me and you were going through and I was looking at that live
Oh, yeah.
thing, I never noticed the Doge. There's a Doge thing now.
Mhm.
If you go to like whatever the government's website is, that you could look up the ongoing debt that we owe everybody.
Yeah.
And it says how much money Doge has found that's saving us money. So, and we've been hit with some little information here and there. We found a couple of Social Security people that's been getting paid while they're 130 down. They've been dead since they were 70. So a couple little things like that. However, it has recently been announced that Elon
Yeah.
is leaving
Yeah.
the D.O.G.E.
Mm-hmm.
So, for one, John Boy, as somebody that does not read up on it
Yeah.
and nerd out about it as much as I do,
Yeah.
what's your whole thought process of Elon Musk getting in with Trump,
Mm-hmm.
doing Doge, and now getting out of it as he is now?
So, out the gate, I was nervous about the thought of him being placed into a government position. It just seemed at the time, I was in the boat where it's like that kind of goes against our standard practice of people being like elected into positions or like there was a vote, right? So it was kind of like he was just plucked and then he was put there. And there was a lot of things that I thought were sus about that. Number one, it gives somebody who is still currently a full-time and a large corporate business owner and operator access to federal information. So, like, as far as taxes and things like that go and, like, different things that you can look at and different departments, now you have, like, a crazy amount of access to that as a business person. So, traditionally, like, people, like, I heard Grant Cardone talk about it this morning about, like, if the IRS is going to tax him on making, like, it was, $100,000 or whatever, he's like, then I'm going to spend $90,000 of it to buy some real estate so that they can't tax it because I used it for business or whatever. So then he only pays like $1,000 in taxes. And I thought, And so normally those are the kind of workarounds people deal with. But it had dawned on me that he has the capability potentially to find if there's a government entity, like let's say it was something to do with like EPA or something. If we take money from a different agency and we put it towards this one, because I do electric cars, he has the ability to like help his own initiative, but on the federal level.
Mm-hmm.
And so that the ideas of some of that stuff seem sketch, but I've not heard anything too wild from like that side of things now that we're towards the wrapping up of his chapter of Doge or whatever. The middle part, what was the middle question?
Well, you kind of answered it. What did you think about while he was running this?
While he's running? Okay, so
Like
I've been skeptical the whole time.
When we're getting information we found these Social Security people we've been giving thousands of dollars to since they've been dead, and
right?
Whatever.
So like that, like sure, I'm glad that we're catching spending that's going towards who knows what. Nobody knows, right? But at the same time, there was no transparent, like, what are we going to do now? Like, if you have money going out, okay, think of it like a payment. Like if you bought a new truck. Well, let's say that they're billing you for 2 trucks, okay? There's a truck that you don't even own. You don't know what the heck? I'm paying for a truck I don't even have. And now you figure it out, and you go and you get it fixed. Well, now what are you going to do with that money? Okay? There's been no, I've not seen a lot of stuff come out after all these findings. Like, they're like, hey, we're spending all this money on people who are dead. Okay, what are we going to do about it now? Now that you have that, what's the new plan with that money? Because if it's like, oh, we're just going to dump it in the defense budget, Okay, well, how does everybody feel about that? If they come out and they tell you that, now you have a little bit better idea of what's going on. The other side, while he was in there, beside the fact of like wanting to know what's going on with the money that we are finding, is some of these, like, I'm trying to remember, didn't they have some programs that they had came up with that would help to lower the deficit if they was to find like huge amounts of waste?
I'm not sure.
I thought they had some
because
plans.
I don't know how they would put that into the deficit.
So whatever,
Like if you stumbled across like some cartel safe house and it's got $1.2 million in it, then I understand how you could put that towards the deficit. But
well, think about if you're spending. Like there was one that came out about like coffee makers or something.
oh yes, the amount of money we are selling products to the military for.
Yeah.
It was like toilet paper was like $1,000 for a roll or something like that.
So imagine if you were able to reduce that cost.
Okay.
Okay. What are you going to do with the leftover money? If you're spending $1,000 on toilet paper and now you're only spending $500, you have $500 more dollars per thing of paper, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, that adds up. We have a large military.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
So, what's once again, where's that tied to, and like, what's your plan? Like, if you're like, hey, we're going to take that and we're going to put that back into the defense budget. It's money we were already spending on the military, but now we're going to use it to send more troops to have better trainings. That's okay. I think that's an acceptable answer. Versus like, we found out these people have been dead and the IRS hasn't caught it yet, and we've been paying them out Social Security checks, and some other random is cashing those, and now we've just cut that off.
Because that money's not going back and sitting in a savings account.
Right.
Right.
Like, where's that going? And what about the people who are taking advantage of those situations? Are they catching those cats?
I doubt it.
So it's like...
Yeah. I'm with you. I'm with you on that part. The accountability thing, that's why I've lost a lot of faith in a lot of people pretty quickly.
Yeah.
The one thing I saw, I don't know if you got to see it recently, but Elon came out about this big, beautiful bill that Trump has and what it's doing. And if I'm wrong, correct me in the comments because I normally can't say it exactly right. But some of the funding from this bill is going back into like the FBI and all this other stuff. And Elon was like, well, I don't think that should be happening. He was like, the whole thing that I'm trying to do here is save us money, and now you're wanting to put more of it back into one of the most corrupt associations that we have. And I think that's probably where Elon and Trump are kind of butting heads. And I think it's actually somewhat kind of good for us to see that because if everyone in one group, they all agree on every single thing.
Right.
It's like something might be awry here.
Yeah.
If everybody's like this, no matter what, whatever. So what are you thinking about Elon leaving?
I actually think that is a good thing because...
You think we'll ever hear about D.O.G.E again?
I don't think so.
I don't think so either.
And so that's what's frustrating about it, is it's like, oh, we came in, we found a couple things, we're going to try to help the government spending, and now we're done.
Who do you think pulled the trigger on that? You think Elon's backing out of it, or do you think Trump's like? Or if there's bigger, there's always could be bigger hands at play. I'm always about that answer.
I think from what I can see,
or if you had to break it down in percentages, Elon wants to leave 60%, whatever.
From what I can see, I think, especially with the like disagreements and the way federal decisions are made right now, I think Elon has more he wants to do elsewhere. So I'd probably say like 60% of it is like he wants to leave and go work on other projects. And then 40% is Trump and his administration is like, hey,
I mean,
let's part ways.
I'm in the same boat you are because I'm sitting here trying from Elon's perspective, because I personally could be completely wrong about this. Call me what you want. I personally think Elon Musk does want the best for the United States. And if that thought is true, I think he might have stepped in something, even though he's the richest man in the world now, that even might have been a little bit too big for him.
Mm-hmm.
Like where he's like, hey, I could be getting in some muddy waters here. How much stuff do I continue to figure out, and how big of a bounty does it put on my head every time I figure something out like this? Because every time something that happens, he's making an enemy with somebody.
Yeah.
And he's already somebody that has a ton of enemies. Now, so is Donald Trump. But I think I'm like you. I think 60% was Elon like, hey, I think I'm out of this.
Yeah.
I got some other things that I need to be taken care of. And
now, I'm not the biggest fanboy. I think everybody knows that either. Right. So like I'm trying to look at it from like more of an unbiased lens, but at the same time, I do have my own like partialness, and that's why like I think on him exiting, that's why I do think there was a piece of it that's healthy. Now, if they would have found somebody else that they like hired into that role, here's the other problem though, is like I don't know what's going on behind the scenes, so I don't know if there was any money that ever exchanged hands for doing these jobs and what they were paying any of those folks. So
meaning paying
like the D.O.G.E team.
Gotcha.
So if the money you're finding counteracts how much it costs for these guys to do the research, like that alone, it makes it null and void.
Because I believe Vivek at one time was supposed to be a co-worker with Musk, and I don't think they agreed on how things should have been ran.
Right.
And Vivek's kind of like, at least for me, he's kind of went quiet. Now I'm pretty sure he's trying to run to be senator or governor of Ohio or something like that, because Vance is in the VP spot now.
Right.
So there was obviously some disagreements there. Something I just wanted to hit you with real quick is, I don't know if you ever knew this, but Elon Musk at one time was like the top 10, maybe even top 5 of one of the biggest video games in the world. It was called Diablo 4.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's what it was. I've never played it, but I know there's a lot of people that love that game. And he was the top 10 in the world. One of the questions that was always asked is, how in the world does this guy have time to be the top 10 of the world of this game? Well, it turns out now it's coming out that he wasn't. Somebody else was playing the game for him to get to this position.
Yeah.
Do you think that something like, because a lot of people right now are making a big deal that shows a lot on his character to be able to do this. Does that change anything for you?
So I already had my suspicions when you told me that he was like one of the top players in the world, because I'm like, that just doesn't add up. Especially after like when that stuff come out, I remember reading about it.
This has been a long time ago.
And I remember somebody had like analyzed watching him play online, and they were like, "Dog, you're not a top 10 player in the world." They said, "Look at anybody else who's like ranked with you."
That's exactly what.
And they were like,
a lot of people said,
not even close.
Right.
And so I find that interesting that you could so confidently lie about your standings without any admission to the fact that you have we'll call him a ghost player.
Right.
Somebody who's playing in the background, right?
Right.
And so that's been part of my thinking the whole time about a lot of the stuff that he does. Now, I'm not saying that he's not smart, okay? But I am saying, like that book that I read recently, Who Not How, I don't have to know how if I have a person who can do it, okay? So, like, I don't have to be a rocket scientist to design this rocket. I just have to hire one.
Yeah, hired Nazi.
So, but that's been a big piece that has been on my mind ever since people have like really hyped him up. Is it's like, how much of it does he actually have his hands on versus is he just managing? Like,
right.
And that's a big deal. Don't get me wrong. Like if you're managing multi-million dollars worth of corporations and businesses, yeah, that's a ton of work. And it's not that you're making a lot of decisions, but you're making a few high level decisions that affect the entire company.
Mm-hmm.
So, not to say that he's not smart or that he's not a leader in some of these fields, but I do think that he has people, but takes a lot of the credit for the work that's being done. And so that's just always been something. That's why I'm like a big Musk fan.
Gotcha. With him going back, so now he's going to go back and focus on Tesla and all this other stuff.
Yeah.
Well, he's constantly been saying that Tesla is not just a car company. Mm-hmm. Like it's an AI company as well.
Yeah.
That it's being able to develop because, he's got, I think it's called Grok.
Mm-hmm.
It's like for Twitter.
Yes,
or
I think
something.
so.
I think it's like an AI system. And there's like an AI system that's been on top of everything now.
Mm-hmm.
Well, in an interview that he had in the last couple of months, he was talking about how many years will it take until every vehicle on the road will like have to have some kind of computer system to continue.
Okay.
If it ever got to a point
mm-hmm.
to where it was like, because we're big Toyota guys.
Yeah.
Say Toyota was like, every car that we have now
mm-hmm.
is going to have a system in it to where it constantly needs to update.
Yeah.
It constantly needs to know where you're at.
Mm-hmm.
And all that stuff. Cameras inside the car.
Yeah.
Is there ever a point for you to where it's like, I'm not going there?
Yeah. I'm already there. I'm already not like a big truster of a lot of this stuff. I was talking with somebody. I'm trying to remember who I was talking. I talked to somebody about this the other day, and they had heard. It was Sam. I was talking to Sam, and so we were talking about that LiDAR, okay,
mm-hmm.
which is like infrared mapping,
mm-hmm.
and he told me that somebody had done a test, and Teslas still use cameras to know when to stop and things like that,
mm-hmm.
and there's like an algorithm that the computer uses. But there's another car, I don't remember what the brand was. It's not as big.
Rivian, probably.
But they use LiDAR instead,
mm-hmm.
or other sensors that measures via like, that's a hard object, and I'm getting closer and closer to it.
Right.
Whereas this sees it, and it knows it's getting closer and closer. So they tricked it. They tested it. They put like a sheet of plastic up that they had painted or printed like a road on. So it looks like it's driving on the road. And when it got to it, it hit it, and it like busted through. The Tesla did, because it doesn't know. Whereas the other car has these LiDAR sensors and different technology. It senses that there's something there.
Right.
It doesn't have to see it. It just knows there's something there. I start applying the brakes.
Right.
As well as with all the GPS stuff, like
me and Cammy, we've talked about a lot in the last little bit.
Yeah.
Of like one day getting a mom car.
Yeah.
And it's like, since we like Toyota, Lexus is just the fancier version of that.
Right.
And I hope in the day that we get one, we have the budget to be able to get something like that, because they look pretty slick, I think. And they last just as long as a Toyota does.
Yeah.
But we were looking at the new GX 550s or whatever they are, but they have a system in it now where the car has to like update like every day,
mm-hmm.
where it won't be able to technically drive as well as it could.
Yeah.
And I was asking myself, well, technology will keep getting better.
Mm-hmm.
At what point is it like, I'm not going to buy that, I'm going to have to buy something older?
I don't see. That's the part that I don't like, though. I don't like it having to be required. If I had to have a vehicle, if I had to have a vehicle that's going to transport my family around, mm-hmm. I would prefer it to be something that turnkey,
right,
every single day, obviously, runs like a champ,
mm-hmm.
with 4-wheel drive capabilities,
mm-hmm.
and like that's what I picture in my mind, because it's going to give me the best odds for every scenario. Now, it's not going to be perfect
Right.
in one thing, but it'll be good enough at everything to get me home.
Yeah, for sure. So there will be a point you believe in the future where you're like, I'm not buying any new vehicles anymore.
Yeah.
That's what we were trying to think about is
As of right now.
Because I agree with the guy. It's not just because I like him.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, technology is exactly what Sam was saying. Technology only advances so far until that we don't have any of it anymore.
Right.
Until it's like something catastrophic happens and it's just all lost.
Right.
But like all the plans to get to the moon somehow. But the Tucker Carlson was talking about he went to buy a new truck.
Mm-hmm.
He's a big Chevy guy.
Yeah.
And he said it was updating at a gas station. He said right after that I took the truck back. He said I'm not dealing with all this stuff. So now he drives a 1969 square body around everywhere.
But that's my point, is I don't want to have to wait on it to update. Now, there are some new cool stuff with some of these new vehicles. My mom just got a new car, and, like, it senses when her key gets close, and it only unlocks her door.
Yeah.
Because she drives by herself a lot.
Right.
And so it's safer for, like, her in that situation, whereas, like, nobody can just jump in the back seat with you.
Yeah.
She walks up, and when she gets from, like, me to you, the car unlocks, she gets in, shuts the door, and I think it auto-locks. And then...
But I think Boss's Tesla does that. He can walk up to the door and the door will open.
Right.
It's crazy.
And so, but some of these features aren't new, though.
No.
I had that talk with the guys at work the other day.
No. But
There was, I rode in a Cadillac DeVille
yeah.
made in the early 90s that had power seats,
And
power
windows.
windows, push to start,
Yep.
all that. Early 90s. You just had to be able to afford it.
Yeah,
Now
for sure.
it's more affordable.
I don't even know if it's more affordable now.
Well, it is because it's just in more vehicles. Like, there's more push to starts than there ever was previously.
I mean, it's like my company car out there. It has lane assist mode to where it's like the car will almost drive itself, and it's a base model.
Yeah.
And it's like it's just going to keep continuing to get to that level.
At what point, so let me ask this. I need to do a follow-up real quick because there was something we was talking about earlier. I don't think I finished my thought on. I don't remember what it was, but with that point, at what point, though, do the people become so dumb that it is like we're not helping ourselves, we're hurting ourselves?
That is going to be on each individual, because my philosophy on that is I have this car over here that drives itself, essentially. Does that give me the right as a good friend, husband, hopefully one day father, to not learn how to drive a car anymore? No. That's you need to continue to try to learn. Like we essentially do not have standard transmissions anymore.
Right.
Like very, very little cars.
It's a very minute
Have
amount.
standard transmissions before. I still believe one thing that you should probably learn how to do is drive a standard transmission. Will you ever need it? Probably not.
Right.
Ever at this point. But in case that you do, it's just like why we get into firearms. It's not everybody in the world has to be a top tier
shooter
guy.
Yeah.
But I do think everybody to a certain level should be able to learn how to protect themselves in some sort of way. Now, how deep you go into it, that's up to you.
Right.
But this car that will stay in the lane, there's multiple times where I'm like, I don't want to do that. Like I'm gonna drive my actual car.
Yeah.
And not gonna lie, as much as everybody else, it gets hard sometimes because that thing right there is a cruiser when you put it into cruise control, dude. I mean, and I'm like, do I need to be sitting here in cruise control and letting my legs get stiff because I'm not doing anything?
So I've got 2 points. Number one, with the cars becoming more like cruisers and even with the self-driving, at what point do we turn into little, like, Wall-E incident? You know the movie Wall-E?
Oh, yeah.
And the people are just floating around on chairs?
Yeah, and they're all fat?
Yeah.
Yep.
At what point does that happen? You're no longer using those muscles in your legs.
Well,
and now
that's
you go.
Let's imagine. Terrible
example.
Imagine
you go to a job where you sit at a desk. There's a lot of people that do that.
There's a lot of people. We know a ton of them.
Okay. Then you get in your car and you let it drive you home.
Yep.
Then you go there and you sit down and you watch TV with your family.
Yep.
Then you go to bed.
Yep.
Then you wake up and you repeat the cycle.
Yep.
So if that's what your average day looks like, all right, like I could get into how many like bad habits you have there, but like at what point though, like imagine you go to take your driver's test and it's got all the sensors. And like imagine you're a crappy driver.
That's a good thought.
But it's like I don't have to be a good driver.
Your car will drive itself.
It'll drive itself. Oh, I'm getting too close to the lane. It'll imagine if if you just holding the steering wheel lightly and it corrects you. Yeah. Center line.
Like you should have to take this test in a car under year 2000.
Yeah. But
that'd be a wild requirement, but I'm down for it.
You know, but either way, like that is just some of my thought process on it. Like at what point does it hinder you as like you're like physically? But then the other part is like even the people who drive cars who are bad drivers because they don't pay attention. Mm-hmm. You still have a certain level of responsibility because you're in the driver's seat.
Correct.
Now you have people who like to drive. Like I think me and you are in that category. And I enjoy like getting in my truck and going places. Mm-hmm. It's funny. It's a small percentage, but it is something that makes me happy. Getting in there, cranking it up, and then hitting the road.
Hitting a blunt.
And there's like...
Just kidding.
And there's minimal input. It's not beeping at me. It's not telling me to do anything.
Right.
Unless there's something obviously like major wrong, you know. But it's just like I get in there, and then it does exactly what I input.
Yeah.
And there's a certain level of like enjoyment out of that. And it's like, you know, if I'm a good driver and I do everything right, then it'll all play out. If I'm not, or if I'm lazy and I don't pay attention and I wreck it, well, then I could have done better. And
yeah.
There's something about that.
Well, the interesting thing is this. A lot of this stuff is made in the name of safety. We're all about being safe.
Right.
As two guys that don't have safety on their everyday pistols. But we're all about it. I would love to know, does this really make people a lot safer? And it may. I hope it does.
My argument against that is like our pistols.
No,
if there's
I
not
agree.
A safety on the gun, and
I agree.
And first off, you are the first and the last safety.
Yes.
Measure.
Yes.
But if you don't have like a physical switch to turn on or off, right? Or just say on or off. Then like you now have to be 100% like thinking about what you're doing. Mm-hmm. Because if you don't, and like some of these videos I've seen recently of people holstering guns mm-hmm. and their finger goes in the holster with it, boom, and they shoot it off. Versus just taking your finger from even alongside the gun and poking it out just a little bit more.
Just an inch.
Just a little bit more. But you have to be conscious. That's the key. You have to be consciously making these decisions.
Well, that is going to be...
And a gun can be just as dangerous as a car to you.
Yeah.
As if you're not paying attention, either one of them can cause great injury.
Well, that's why, kind of going back to what I was saying before, it's all going to be dependent on what you do. Because mm-hmm. the Wally situation, we're all riding around in chairs, we're fat and everything like that. Moving your legs in a car doesn't really burn that many calories.
No.
Really. So that was probably not a really good example on my part. But it should be everybody's, I don't want to say duty, but it almost is to a certain point, because you need to be healthy, not just for yourself, but for other people as well.
There's some people who can't drive because they're unhealthy.
That's what I'm saying.
Not people who don't know how. Yeah. They know how, but they like their body just, that's such a crazy statement, but their body can't do it.
Because by no means am I saying that we should not have things that's comfortable. I'm all about that.
Oh yeah.
AC is one of the greatest things ever invented. I mean, if anybody didn't know this, fact check it. But JC had AC back in the day.
Yeah.
So that's how he always looked so good. But the wind in his hair. Skeptical about that much, but. I love AC. Yeah. It's one of the greatest things in the entire world. It's like when people are rolling around in old cars and they're like, this thing ain't got AC. I'm like, That sucks.
Think about, here's one for it, power steering.
Yeah. I'm all about it.
Dog.
Right.
Imagine you're at a stop sign, you got to make a right.
The only thing that we're saying is, like, technology will continue to evolve, to the point to where we won't actually have to do much, but it's our duty.
Mm-hmm.
That's the best word I guess you could say, to try to be as good and I mean good as in general. Like, I didn't mean you got to be an expert on all this stuff.
Right.
But I'm by no means an expert how to fish, but I can put a dadgum worm on a hook and throw a stick out there. So it's like, Earl says it the best. He's like, just be good at a lot of things.
Mm-hmm.
He goes, you don't have to be great at any of them.
Mm-hmm.
He said, just be good at them. Because there may be a time to when you just won't have that anymore. If your cruise control ever goes out, and I've had that happen, and it sucks. But you just put that right leg down.
I remember when I figured out my 93 had cruise control.
Yeah.
I didn't even think it did. And then one day I found it, and I was like,
yeah.
It was like, this is a game changer.
Do you remember that big truck we had at work? We still have it, I think. It don't have no cruise control.
Woof.
And that sucker, dude, and it only run about 65.
What's funny is it probably took me a year of working and doing deliveries before I used cruise control. Think about that.
Yeah.
My first month of working, my ankle was so sore from doing this number right here.
Mm-hmm.
It is like, woo, buddy. And I'll tell you what's funny real quick, side note. On my 93, I literally think there was like, I don't know.
This is an S10, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
I don't know what the mechanism was to keep the cruise set. Like, I don't know if there was something that like grabbed the cable. But I swear, because I think it was still on a cable system.
It definitely was.
That it you would let it do it, and it would keep the pedal depressed.
Yeah.
So like wherever the throttle cable was pulled, that's where it kept the gas pedal physically there.
Oh yeah.
Whereas like now, I don't think it does that.
There's not even a cable.
Well, no, yeah, that's
Yeah.
it's a throttle sensor, isn't it?
Yeah.
But like my pedal in my truck, I think if I set the cruise, it just comes all the way back to like
yeah,
zero.
Yeah.
Whereas here, if I'm at 75%, it's locked
That
in at
thing's locked at
75%.
75%.
Yeah, such a funny like difference.
Have
But
you-
that's probably safer.
Have you ever seen the movie Moonfall before? Moonfall. It's exactly what I'm saying.
It sounds so familiar.
There's the moon. For whatever reason, I don't want to. Not throwing no hate.
Yeah.
Don't want to show no spoilers.
Okay.
But for whatever reason, the moon is getting closer to the Earth.
Yeah.
And it shows about like how much devastation it would be.
Yeah.
And if that was to happen. But
Yeah.
anyway, all that to say, there's one part in the movie where it's talking about how fast technology is going.
Yeah.
And will it ever get to a point to where like the end is destruction? And some people think that when it comes like the Bible too.
Mm-hmm.
Like when it says Jesus is going to come back, it's going to be when technology is at the top of the top and like one snap of two atoms just blows up the whole world.
Yeah.
And Jesus is going to be the one that comes back and be like, probably don't need to snap that. And, you know, it's like the Jesus and the Satan.
Yeah.
Satan's going to be like, snap it. Blows up the whole world.
That's a crazy like thought process to me.
Crazy. But I definitely do think there is a point to where the technology is, and I'm not a big, like, even though I'm skeptic about a lot of things.
Yeah.
I don't think like robots are going to take over or anything like that.
Yeah.
I definitely think that there will be a day to where we have like drones, Star Wars style, that's fighting battles. I definitely think that's a thing.
I was talking to somebody about that the other day. Imagine you put on like, you know what an FPV drone is? First person view drone.
Yeah.
And they wear those little things with the antennas on them.
Mm-hmm.
Imagine that, but now I keep calling them super soldiers.
Yeah.
If somebody steals this idea, I'm going to be really sad because like, I think I could have a lot.
Boston Dynamics has already got this.
I could have a lot of input on how to make this better.
But do we need to make that though? Is the question.
I don't know.
Because
imagine nobody died.
That's what I'm saying. Like
you should have robots fighting each other.
Exactly for what reason? That's what I'm saying.
Entertainment.
It's like
Question mark?
it's like we got Russia and Ukraine right now fighting each other, but it's just robots, and we're pumping them out the same amount they're dying.
Well, the real
so in the end, nobody's winning anything.
The real problem would actually be that they wouldn't do that because everybody would understand that that's not going to get you nowhere. So then they would start like attacking.
Brother, they would do that.
No, I don't. I think they would.
You imagine how big the defense budget would be if we had to build robots for useless wars?
Think about no. Think about this though. I'm thinking it would be worse than that. If we built robots, we're not going to go send them out Revolutionary War style. Line them up, shoot the robots. I genuinely think it'll be like, okay, where's their headquarters? Because none of our people have to die, so we might as well just take the whole headquarters out.
Dude,
but then they would do the same thing to us.
I just thought of the darkest thing ever.
Oh, here we go. Come on.
You imagine that the United States, some big person up in the United States, I'm not even saying this president, maybe somebody bigger than that, and we got somebody bigger than Putin in Russia.
Yeah.
These guys have a backdoor meeting, and they're like, hey, I got an idea, and I want to run this idea by you. And they're like, what? They're like, I think we should start a war, robots versus robots, and we will have an endless budget that will always be functioning because we will always continue this war. So somebody's always going to be getting rich.
That don't sound too bad, though. I mean, yeah, somebody's getting rich, sure.
Well,
but
but imagine all of
But now nobody's dying for it.
I know, but somebody has the power to just switch everything. At any moment in time.
Well, but think about this.
Imagine this Russia and this United States guys were like, you know what? I kind of do want Ukraine.
Picture this, though. Now imagine there's a third player. This is where it gets fun.
Jesus Christ.
We're going to play hypotheticals. Imagine somebody else steps in and they're like, hey, I figured out what they're up to. We're going to EMP all of their stuff. We're just going to shut it down. China says they're going to just shut it down.
Or just take out the people that's doing it.
Yeah. Well, that was my point from the beginning. But if they just turn it all off, lights off.
How could you do that, though?
I don't know.
Like, would you be willing to get rid of everything that you know and love now to save the world? That's a hard question now. Think about it. Like, we're going to EMP the entire world. It's the only way that we could shut these drones off forever.
Yeah.
But you're about to lose phones. You're about to lose everything power-wise.
Oh,
now, eventually, technology will.
You know me.
Evolve.
I'm cool with that.
As
long as I can still drive over here on something, I'll drive something over here.
You got a bicycle.
That's kind of gay.
That's all we got.
There's definitely cars like I've got a motor sitting in my house right now that doesn't.
I know, but you may not be able to pump gas ever again.
Nah, we'll get some gas. Trust me.
I don't know. I mean, how long is it? But we're in the fact to say, like, think about this. If the whole world got EMP'd right now, we lost every bit of technology.
Yeah.
Would we have more?
It'd probably be a better place.
Would we have more or less wars than we have now?
Ooh. I don't know because
would it force more people to have to work together?
Because the travel of information would be so much longer now.
For sure.
There's potential for greater devastation.
And then how much of the world could even let's say it on the low end. Let's say we're about to cut every kind of cell phone off forever. How many businesses will be able to survive no longer having phones? Like, say we just lost this.
There would be a great portion of them that probably wouldn't make it.
Because wondering how...
Because how
the question that I've been wondering is is there any way that we could recess without the world just completely crumbling? And I personally think we're past that point where we can't. Meaning, what I mean, I don't mean everybody dying, but I mean like the world as we know it is no longer what we know it anymore.
Right.
Like it is completely shattered. There's no Democrats. There's no Republicans. There's nothing. I mean, we're just living without any way to connect with people.
That's how it was back in the day.
I know. But we're coming from somebody that has everything. I have everything in the world at my fingertips right here.
Truth and lies.
True. Yeah, true. But back then you didn't have any of the truth or the lies.
What do you mean?
Newspaper?
Yeah, but it was a lot harder for people to... I think less people wanted to lie publicly like that.
Oh, for sure. We got people out here saying OnlyFans is good for the world. What are we talking about here?
And then on top of that, people had to do more stuff like physically.
What does that have to do with anything?
I've done a bunch of research recently on how much better it is for your brain, and your
what is
having to like literally do something. Like instead of me just
you're talking to the guy that works out all the time, brother.
Right, but now think about this: the phone doesn't work out for you, but you know what it does do? It gets a hold of me. Now imagine if you had to write me a letter.
I know.
Okay, they say that's better for you.
I know.
Because it takes more thinking and you're more intentional about it.
Right.
As well as then, like, as far as like relationships go, I think it would weed a lot of people out.
Weed them out? What does that mean?
Weed them out. Weed them out. What's that off of?
SpongeBob.
That's right. All right. You passed the test.
That was Patrick.
And imagine if you and somebody started talking less, they'd move further away.
Yeah, that ain't my girl anymore.
And now they can't text you.
Yeah,
right?
that ain't my girl no more.
You got to write them a letter.
No. Negative.
And they're out there.
You go find another one.
They're out there skis balling.
And that's what I'm saying. They're out there doing that now, but publicly. They're like, I don't give a crap.
Good comms. Well, but even your bros, like even the bros would have like.
Well, that's back in the day. I mean, nobody's land's anybody's land, really. All the bros are living by each other.
Stop playing.
Like
nobody's land's anybody's land.
Yeah.
They've been fighting that battle since the dawn of time.
Me and Richard over
Your
here.
sheep's on my land, so now it's my sheep. Well, no, that's not how that worked. That's like the dawn of time type argument.
Me and Richard over here, I'm going to be like, dude, John's going to move right there, and there's nothing you can do about it.
He'd really be in trouble.
And I hit him with this, though.
Yeah.
I say, if you let this happen, now you got two people that could protect your house. You build alliances, brother.
Oh, my gosh. Of course.
You got to be able to provide. Back then, I will say this. Back then in that time, you had to have a lot more things that would provide value than nothing. Like, going back to the OnlyFans, all you're doing is going on there and being naked.
Yeah.
That's it. Like, you're not providing any value except for...
You actually had to go somewhere to do that kind of work.
Exactly. And it's
like...
like...
office.
Yeah, the office. My boss's office.
Yeah.
But now it's like, I heard some girl talking about, what's your biggest struggle with OnlyFans? And she says, when somebody leaks all my pictures for free, and then starts like nagging on the people that don't pay. We need to be nagging on the people that pay. What are we talking about here?
Yeah.
No man should be out there paying for a picture of that. And I'm not saying you should be looking them up in general, but the fact that you have these people that is coming out here and they're doing all these different things. I'm not just saying OnlyFans, all kind of different things.
Oh, yeah.
And it's like, what value are you really providing for somebody except for a quick hit of dopamine off of that? But we're in a world now that lives off that. Mm-hmm. It's like, well, I mean, it's like exactly how me and you talk. It's like, we're going to have a good day today, and tomorrow's going to suck. It's not just because tomorrow's bad. It's because we're coming off the high of the day before.
Yeah.
And I think you realizing that, shout out to Andrew Huberman. He was the one that always says this. When you can realize that, you understand that the next day is not a bad day. It's just back to baseline.
What's funny, though, is like thinking about it in that aspect, I think you embody that pretty well. Like realizing that you're coming back to baseline. And, like, everything's chill.
Yeah.
Whereas, like, I look at it through kind of a different lens. Like, I'm just like, okay, fine then. If this is the standard, and I still think that it sucks, okay.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I'm not saying it doesn't suck.
Then I'm pretty much just kind of like buying my time until I have another good day. Like, I'm out here just doing my thing, trying to make stuff happen, go about my day-to-day life until the next good day comes along.
But
those are the moments.
My argument would be just try to make the next day another good day.
Yeah, but that's physically impossible to do that every single day.
Oh, of course.
And
of
so
course it's possible.
You're going to have a lot of days where it's like,
yeah, that's
like,
fine.
it's Sunday. Okay, the 1st. Here we are.
Yeah.
Now today, pretty good day.
Yeah. But even if it's not a good day, that's okay. Whoever in the world is pushing all this on social media that every day you need to be wearing a Rolex and driving a Bugatti and all this other stuff, that's all cool
They're
stuff.
right.
That's all cool stuff. Well, whoever says is what.
I'm kidding. Andrew Tate says that.
Hey, there's a lot of things Andrew Tate I agree with. I think you should always try to be a better man.
Mm-hmm.
I think you should strive to try to make money to provide for your family and all this other stuff. However, that stuff is not the thing that makes you the happiest, though. And you can't be happy forever.
Is fulfilled a better word?
Fulfilled?
Fulfilled.
It could be. I think everybody's different.
You don't got to be happy in life, but if you have a sense of like fulfilled,
could be. Could be. I think the days days different. Because there's some days I really don't give two craps that I'm selling cutting tools.
Dude, there's a lot of days that I don't give a crap about nothing. Okay.
But there's days that I give a crap about something else, and that's what the thing that I get fulfillment. This is crazy, mind blowing what I'm about to tell you.
Oh, come on.
I get fulfillment in being happy.
Yeah.
So I try to tell myself when I get up in the morning, I think me and Ryan were talking about this a couple of days ago, that my day will probably be better than worse if I'm happy about something.
Yeah.
And hence the make today worth it. And I don't know what that is. It might be something little every day. It might be, I'm in such a poor mood today. The only way I can make this day worth it is if I get off work today and make it. Then you do. And you're like, I made it. I ain't trying to take a big... Here's the thing. I ain't trying to take a big step every day. Mm-hmm. I'm just trying to take a step anywhere but backwards.
Right.
Now, that will happen thousands of times, jillions of times. But, and with the fulfillment, I do agree that there's times where you like, man, today was a hard day, but I got it done. And there's a piece of that that's like the old, like
the wink.
The wink.
Yeah.
It's today sucked, but I got it done. Me putting in post holes in yesterday. I hate that. My bad, I just spit everywhere.
You're good.
It sucks. And my hands hurt the next day because I'm a puss. But I got that done. And the smile on Cammie's face when I got that done, dude, I was like, that's all right. I said, tomorrow I'm going to be tired. My hands are going to be hurting. I said, I'm probably going to have to go out there and fiddle with something else. But I did get this done today.
I just realized.
And it was something I hated. But I still got it done.
I just realized something. Two things.
What'd you realize?
One, I've been talking to myself about, I'm thinking about writing more ideas and stuff that I have come to me down.
Yeah. Starting the regime.
But
I've been thinking about journaling too, matter of fact.
Well, so it all started like 2 years ago when I started watching some videos on it. And I've got some notebooks that I've got a few started. And luckily I watched a guy who is similar to me, and he likes to have a lot of things. So he has a lot of notebooks for different stuff. Mm-hmm. He has one that he uses every day, and then he has one like when he goes home at night if he's got some, I need to remember that tomorrow, or it's just something I want to get off my chest, right, et cetera, et cetera. Mm-hmm. I've got a really cool journal, but I've been trying to decide what.
I need to find a good one.
Like there's people who just they say write about the things that you think about. And I've been trying to think about the things that I think about and how would I write them. Well, there's two things I just figured.
What do you mean, how do I write them? That's the part I don't understand.
Because I thought,
like, what do you think about?
There's some stuff I think about that's genuinely not worth writing about.
What do you mean, brother?
What do you mean? I have thoughts that are sometimes, it's a one and done, right?
Are they really, though?
Yeah. I'll be driving down the road. Damn, I like this song. That's it.
Why would you not write that down?
That's one and done. Because I like it on Spotify. Spotify remembers the song for me. I can listen to it again later.
Going back to that technology thing, my gosh. But anyway.
But I have realized something about that.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm pretty much, I've been slowly designing these moments in my life that I'm going to orchestrate. Whether they're going to, like, I don't think they'll happen organically, so I'm going to make them happen.
Can you share any of them?
Yeah.
Share one.
Like, I like the idea of dancing to some music with some people. And
Machine Gun Kelly just did that.
And I don't mean like club music and like grinding up on a bunch of hoes.
Oh, I'm not all about all that.
I don't want
either.
anything to do with that.
No, I'm
disgusting.
With you.
Get out that of my face.
Yep.
All right?
I'm with you.
But I enjoy a wide array of music.
Mm-hmm.
And there's some music out there that I think you could like legitimate dancing. Okay.
Are we talking slow dancing or like choreography or what are we
slow
talking?
dancing, not so much on the choreography. Maybe going and you learn something new. Maybe you learn how to do the tango. Right?
Yeah.
But then doing that with somebody who's I'm close with.
Okay.
I don't know what that looks like yet. I've not ironed out all the details, but I'm working my way towards it.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that would be something that I would enjoy. And I could mark it down. It's something I could write about.
I would challenge you on one thing with that.
Oh, here we go.
And I'm still saying keep that, but as a friend, I'm challenging you on this. I would challenge you on learning that, even if you don't have somebody to learn it with. That would be my challenge to you.
Well, I almost did that.
That's awesome, dude. I'm all about it.
I'm thinking about doing it when I go on vacation. They actually have a thing. It's called like, I don't remember what it was. It was a funny name. It was like a play on words, but it was like Mexican food and learning how to dance.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so I'm thinking about doing that on vacation. But
yeah.
Either way, it was like tacos and salsa. It's like you're gonna have tacos, but you're also gonna learn how to do the salsa, which is a dance.
Yeah,
it was something smart like that. But I also recognize, sitting here talking to you, some of the days that I enjoy the most are when I know somebody else is enjoying the day. As crazy as that sounds, when I go to bed,
I don't think that's crazy.
When I go to bed at night and I reflect on what brought me joy that day, it was knowing that somebody else had a good day.
I don't think there's anything wrong with that.
And that is separate from me having a good time. Like, because...
So in the end, though...
In the end, I'll be happy because they were happy. But in the moment, I don't have to be happy.
Oh, that's fine. I'm cool with that.
And I think I do that quite often, actually.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting. So you're quite the people pleaser.
To a degree. He winked if you didn't, if you're listening. So that's a part of it. But then journaling. Just earlier, we were sitting in your house,
mm-hmm.
and we're having a discussion.
Yep.
And I looked around the room, and there was something I noticed. And that specific thing that I noticed is something that I could write about.
Interesting.
It's those things that I think I pick up on that I don't think everybody else is picking up on all the time. Especially like when we have a big get-together here with all the friends. And there'll be a moment where I feel like I'm almost not even present. As that sounds.
It's like you're like a ghost.
Kind of.
I know what you're feeling. I know what you're talking
I'm just
about.
watching it happen.
Yeah.
I'm not really doing anything.
That's moments, brother, I start smiling.
I'm not partaking. Well, this happens to me all the time.
Yeah.
I'm pretty intentional about doing it. It reminds me of like Cody Allender's before his wedding. Everybody got together for that camp out at the range.
Mm-hmm.
And I had walked up and I was standing by Derek for at least 20 minutes. Had to have been a minimum of 20 minutes. And he looks over and he goes, John! I had to back up from the mic just a little bit. And everybody was like, whoa, when did you get here? there was a certain level of like fun that I got from just watching everybody interact.
Oh yeah, no, I'm with you.
Hopefully that doesn't come across as being creepy, but
No,
I could definitely write down what I'm seeing. What it is that I'm taking away from this moment.
And what would it be?
That one, it was like a carefree, everybody talking and enjoying their company together, regardless of everything else going on.
Okay.
Regardless of what you have going on personally, you were in the moment right then, carefree.
Okay, so
enjoying spending time with your friends.
If you wrote that down and you went back and read it, what would that do for you?
I don't know. I'd get a little bit of happiness from thinking about that moment.
Gotcha.
I get to steal a piece of your joy.
Well, I mean, you can have joy. I mean, joy too. I mean, you can have joy just being in the moment of there.
Yeah.
Like that. I mean, that happens all the time.
Sometimes.
Like before I ever.
It happens sometimes.
Before I ever learned how to play guitar, if I was with other people playing instruments, dude, it was the coolest thing in the world.
It has taken me. How long have we been playing together now?
I don't even have no idea. I don't even know how old I am, brother.
Oh my gosh, that goes into a whole different. We need to have a talk or a podcast on forgetting.
All right, journal it down.
All right,
because we'll talk about it in the next podcast.
And just letting go.
What are you talking about? Letting go?
I can go into detail on. I took a 2-week trip, and at one point, my goal was to forget what day it was, and I achieved that.
Yeah.
For like a week worth of time period.
Yeah.
And it's awesome.
But were you bored?
No, not
because you
really.
weren't thinking about anything else.
Not really. Well, it's not that I'm not thinking about anything else. It's like you can think about more stuff. I don't have anything to worry about as far as like stuff to do. Like I still have stuff to do. Yes. Yeah, we almost got robbed. Whatever.
Yeah, but you were just talking about earlier not having anything to do.
Yeah. But when your job is to find, so like think about this. You wake up, you don't have nothing to do.
I love that.
No requirements.
I love that.
And you're like, I could do anything I want today.
Yep.
And that day you say, okay, I'm going to go on a hike in one of the most beautiful forests in America. Mm-hmm. And so you do.
Okay.
That's what I was up to during that time period.
Well, good.
Or you know what?
I'm
going to wake up today, and I don't even know where we're going. Somebody else decided where they want to go today.
That's awesome.
I'm just along for the ride, looking out the window, enjoying the desert.
Mm-hmm.
And I know that might sound crazy, but there's some really cool cactuses once you get further out west.
Hey, dude, I'm all about it.
That I was enjoying the views. I didn't know what day it was. I still couldn't tell you what day it was. I'd have to look back at my pictures from whatever picture I took that day. Tell you what day it was, but there's a certain level of like, I don't know, getting to think freely, and I just get to do whatever. That's why I like hanging out with y'all so much, I think. It's when I show up here, I genuinely don't worry about anything. That's like me and you have discussed recently about like not worrying about money.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, now imagine this. Do you ever worry about having to eat?
All the time. What are you talking about?
I don't.
I do all the time, bro.
I never do.
All the time.
And you know what's even...
Not from a money standpoint, just when it's going to happen.
From any standpoint.
Oh, yeah.
I know if I'm going to be hungry, I know that I'll eat. It's an insane thing. I could show up anywhere, and somebody's going to feed me.
That's what Jesus said.
Live it, man.
I'm with you.
Now I know you're on a little bit stricter schedule than Jesus was.
Yeah.
You know,
I got Jesus walking with me the whole time.
He wasn't like Peter. You know,
dude, I'm trying to be like Peter, son. The foundation.
Yeah,
I'm trying, brother. No, I think about food all the time.
But my point is,
this might be a problem I have.
I rolled up one day, no dinner plans. I don't remember why. I don't remember why I rolled up. I had a reason I came here. But you weren't even here, I don't think. But I think I texted you. I try to be that friend at least. But Earl was here. I started talking to Earl. And it's funny. Once again, I was in one of those moments where I had the realization that I think Earl just wanted somebody to hang out with for a little while and chit-chat with. Mm-hmm. And I thought, I don't have nowhere better to be. And I have had many great conversations with Earl. Okay, that's what I'll do then. That's what I'm going to do this evening. I'm going to hang out with Earl until time for me to I have to go home to get ready for work. I said, okay. So I'm hanging out with Earl. We're talking. We're watching fishing on the TV, which is ironic because I love fishing. He happened to already have it on. Mm-hmm. And we talked about how there's a lot of people who don't watch fishing on TV.
Mm-hmm. I feel like I've heard this story before.
And we've talked about a lot of stuff. But then he goes, you had dinner? I said, no. He goes, come on, let's go. Okay.
Every now and then, dude, he does that.
But here's my point. That was never part of my plan. That happens to me constantly. It's actually gotten a little bit out of hand. I'm going to have to reel it back in a little bit with some people. There's a couple. I owe some dinners because I've had so many of other people's food at this point.
You know what I'm realizing
it's crazy.
Right now? I think I worry about things more than you do. I just worry about little meniscus things. My first question coming out of church today, what are we eating? When are we eating? I'm starving.
Not me.
Cammy's like, chill, you're going to live. And I'm like, I know, but I'd like to have 50 grams of protein in me in the next hour. And Cammy's like, that's crazy. See, I might actually have more of a problem than you do.
Maybe you
and then it's like,
that's funny because you always say that. You're like, maybe you're so much happier because you don't watch the news. And then I think the opposite.
Yeah. Well, see, the thing is with me, and this is probably not a good thing because I would have to really adjust if I was back in the day, Peter walking around with Jesus.
I think it would be a different scenario. But go ahead.
I have. Call me what you want to call me. People's called me names forever. I'm not. You can call me whatever. I don't even care.
Dick.
Yeah, you can call me that douchebag. I don't really care.
No, I was just joking.
But
everybody.
I have such a strict-ish routine because I know, and nobody out there ever needs to take this the wrong way.
Yeah,
I know that if for whatever reason I'm not getting happiness out of this moment, I'm getting happiness out of this moment. Mm-hmm. And that's why I stick there. It's like I know I could potentially be having a good time with my friends past 9:30.
Yeah.
But when it comes 9:30, I'm going to bed because I know when I wake up I'm going to be better. And that's the stuff I always think about all the time. And it's like because it gets not with the sleep thing, the food thing with me and Cammie is something we've had to navigate forever. It's like when I'm hungry, I'm hungry because I can tell you after I eat this food, I'm going to be better than I was before.
Yeah.
No question about it. And food brings me happiness. That's a tough life to live, trust me.
I know. I'm trying to eat healthier, and you know what my favorite thing is?
Mine, dude, see, mine is not even eat healthier. Mine's just get food in me. Because if I don't have, I sound like a wuss right now.
I get the food, and if I don't even worry about it.
I know, which is crazy.
I'm telling you, it's a myth. The whole having to eat is a myth.
It's crazy.
And drinking water, it's all a myth.
It's crazy, dude.
If I'm thirsty enough, I'm going to get something to drink.
Dude, I don't even understand.
I'm probably thirsty right now, technically.
You're definitely thirsty.
But I don't need it.
I'm thirsty as I'll get.
Because
I have 3 waters down here.
My mouth's a little bit dry right now. But swallowed my spit just then. We're good to go. Like what do I have to worry about? I'm not dying. Technically, I am. Technically, we all are.
Dude told me today in church,
if you want to get
you're
down dying. Not me. I'm living. Ooh,
brother,
burn.
I'm
How do you
dying.
like that? I just hit you with your own type of ism. That's a Dylanism.
I'm dying every day.
I ain't dying. I'm living.
Hey, I'm dying every day, but
Get
I'm living
here.
until I die.
Oh, yeah.
All right, guys. Well, great podcast. I don't know what that was, but
I don't know either.
I don't either. I was trying to do some gang sign, but it didn't work out too well.
You better be careful saying stuff like that.
Dude, I ain't come at me right now. Especially after I eat 50 grams of protein. Come at me. Whatever you want to do. Guys, I hope y'all enjoyed this conversation.
Yep.
This was a really good conversation. John Boy, write down in your journal right now what we're talking about next week. And I can't remember what it was. I already forgot. Oh, forgetting. So, John Boy, leave the folks with something.
Man. Quit stressing.
You know what gingers are now? Just kidding.
Coming from me, a guy who everybody says stresses way too much. Quit stressing. All right? Leave us a comment, like and subscribe. We'd love to hear from you. We're going to try to. We've got some stuff in the works for as guests. I'm journaling now. We're going to work on some ideas. Is what it is. Have a great rest of your day, week, year. Whenever this reaches you, we're out.
Shalom, shalom.
Shalom.